Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to say that I'm thankful for the invite and thank you for a very successful first day. To be surrounded by so many innovative and creative minds is truly inspiring. First of all, my topic for today is the emerging new technologies for property management. In our presentation today, we'll take a look first at the current status of the real estate market, what is happening, what has changed in the recent few years. Then we will move into an idea of the PropTech. What is PropTech? What is some of the key areas that it covers? After that, we will spend the better parts of our presentation in the new technologies shaping the future of property management and the way we interact with our properties. Then we will end up by a few key takeaways about property management and the new technologies in the market. Before we start, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Abdurrahman Al-Kleibi. I'm the CEO of PropertyNet. PropertyNet is the leading PropTech in Saudi Arabia. We have over 20 years of experience, ranging from providing technologies to providing operational solutions. On a personal level, I have 15 years of experience spanning on multiple sectors: real estate, technology, sourcing, construction. I've always been passionate about adapting new technologies and new processes. I still remember, and I've said this story before, over 20 years ago when I first interned in my family's real estate office, I pitched them adapting emails as a method of receiving and sending documents. And it was at that time when I faced the first barrier of technology in the real estate industry. According to KPMG, a survey that they have done on 2020, only or less than 50% of real estate companies have a digitalization strategy. And of those 50%, only a third would consider themselves to be digitally companies or digitally advanced companies. So unfortunately, the sector has been lacking when it comes to technology. But in recent years, fortunately enough, things has changed in the kingdom. With the introduction of RIGA as a governing authority over the real estate sector, things has changed. So regulation and legislation became faster, which helped in adapting new technologies. And with the introduction of Al-Wataniya Al-Iskan, NHC, and multiple platforms, it helped the market to be more digitalized, to move into digitalization. So it took the burden of educating the market from the private sector to the governmental and semi-governmental sector. As a result, we see an increase in appetite for PropTechs. According to latest reports, over 200 PropTechs are actually functioning now in the kingdom. So what is PropTech? PropTech basically is an umbrella term that describes every technology or an application that either solve a challenge or unlock an opportunity in the real estate industry. There are key areas that PropTech covers. First, property search, so listing sites and transaction. Then there is design and construction, so 3D modeling, 3D printing. Then after that, there is investment and financing, so partial ownership platforms or crowdfunding. And last but not least, property management and operation softwares like PropertyNet, where you automate processes such as leasing, collection, maintenance, etc. So what are the major technologies that are going to change the way we interact with our properties? There are four main technologies that I think will change the way we manage our properties. First, IoT or Internet of Things. Second, artificial intelligence and machine learning. Third, virtual and augmented reality. Fourth, drones. Each and every one of these technologies will need an entire seminar, not just a segment in a presentation. So my goal is just to shed some light on them, define them in the context of property management, then give an example of each and every one of them. So to begin with, IoT, or Internet of Things. What is Internet of Things? It's a network of physical devices, home appliance, vehicles, of which we embed sensors to collect data, then analyze these data. It helps communication between devices. So in simpler terms, it is making everyday object a smarter object. Some of the components of IoT, first, sensors. So it collects data from the devices itself and the environment around the device. Then there is connectivity, which is the ability to transmit these data and to store it, whether if it's on the cloud or on on-premise servers. Then data processing, which is basically the analytics we do on those data to derive value. Then the user interface, which is the portal we log in to see and get value from these data. Some of the applications of IoT in property management. First, smart buildings. Imagine having the ability to adjust the temperature within this room based on the temperature outside automatically. Or imagine being able to make sure that there is a sufficient level of oxygen through ventilations based on the number of occupants within a certain area. Or imagine enabling motion sensors just to turn on and off lights based on motion around you. How much will you save in terms of energy cost? How much will you increase in terms of convenience for your tenants? Another utilization is in predictive maintenance. By installing sensors on those devices, you can collect information such as temperature, vibration, which will help you spot anomalies the moment it happened before a problem escalates. So knowing about a leak the moment it happened before it damages half of the property will go a long way in increasing and sustaining these properties for a long time. An example of IoT in action is Siemens office buildings in both Switzerland and Germany. By enabling AOTs, by adapting such an approach, they have a 30% reduction in energy consumption and carbon emission. They increased the employees' comfort by making sure that there is a sufficient level of oxygen, of course, within the working areas. And in one building alone, they were able to save 340,000 euros on annual energy costs. So as impressive as IoT, it's not the only technology. If there was a buzz term going around lately, it is AI. So what is AI? AI, or artificial intelligence, is the simulation of human intelligence done by a computer. So whether if it's being learning, reasoning, or self-correction. On the other hand, ML is a subset of AI where you enable machines to learn by themselves. So what are some of the components and concepts when it comes to AI? First, data input. So the more data we gather, whether from IoT or market data, latest selling prices, latest rental prices, etc., or even data from social media toward the sentiment, toward a certain property or a certain location. All of these data input will help in deriving more value and driving AI. So second concept is algorithm. Algorithm is basically the list of instructions that we give the system on how to deal with this data. Then training and learning, which is the machine learning part. Then the prediction and the output that we get from the system. So an example or some of the applications of AI in property management. First, predictive analytics, being able to predict the latest rental prices, being able to predict when a tenant will churn, or how much, forecasting how much will you need in terms of maintenance on a single property that you are going to manage. Another utilization is in tenant personalization. In today's day and age, tenants expect more of a different experience and more tailor-made experience from their property managers. So the level or the type of amenities and properties or facilities within the property that you would recommend to a tenant with a family of children is different than the recommendation for a family with teenagers or young adults. So being able to do this at scale is a place where AI will add a lot of value for property managers. Last but not least, chatbots. Having the ability to have a 24/7 customer service that can reply to your tenant, to your prospective tenants, and you can program these chatbots to trigger some action based on the communication with your tenants. An example of AI in action is in Zillow and their product Zestimate. It's an AI pricing model, and according to the latest studies, it has an accuracy of over 82%. It increases the seller's profit by 7%, and above all, it reduced the time to sell by 20%. A third and an important technology that we should consider and think about when doing property management is virtual and augmented reality. So what is virtual reality? It's a computer-generated, simulated 3D environment. On the other hand, AR is a technologically imposed image into the view of the user of the real world. So even though that we always mention the two together, they are completely different. In the case of virtual reality, you submerge or submerge the user into a different environment by putting on a helmet. In the case of AR or augmented reality, you improve the user view of the world by imposing an image, whether if it's be it through a cell phone or a tablet or even a smart glasses. Some of the utilization in property management. First, of course, having a VR tour, it will expand your reach. It will give you the chance to market your properties to people around other places, whether if it's on the across the other side of the country or even across the other side of the globe. Having the ability to do virtual touring will increase the potential of your reach when it comes to property management. Another utilization in design visualization. Imagine having the ability to see what a piece of furniture will look like in the middle of your living room, or what your property will look like after doing some renovations. Last but not least, in terms of maintenance, by creating 3D models and 3D twins of your properties, you can train your maintenance team on multiple scenarios that you need to train them on these different properties rather than dispatching those teams physically. An example of that is in Resinai and their product Vera. It helps you create digital twin. It helps you overlay schematics and manual within the view of the technician without needing to use their hands. And as a result of that, you should expect an increase in maintenance efficiency by 25%, a reduction of equipment downtime resulting from the efficiency by 30%, and an example of one of their properties, of one of their client who manages a property of 500,000 square feet. They were able to save $400,000 on annual cost of maintenance. So last but not least, drones. Drones in property management drones in general has multiple utilizations. So what is a drone? A drone is an unmanned aircraft, a flying robot that you can manage and operate remotely, or it can perform autonomous flying. It is equipped with sensors, it is equipped with GPS and with cameras. So when it comes to property management, there are some key characteristics for drones. First, unmanned or remotely operated. Second, powered by cameras, sensors and GPS, could perform autonomous flying, and above all, it gathers aerial data. So some of the utilization when it comes to property management. First, property inspections. Imagine having the ability to scan an entire exterior of a building through a drone to find cracks, to find damages, to find problems. Another utilization is in security and surveillance, so parameter checking, and above all, crowd management, especially for large properties like King Abdullah Financial District. By deploying drones, they can manage traffic and rearrange the traffic and forecast blockage points for a smoother experience of their visitors. Last but not least, marketing and promotions. Always having an aerial shot of your property will increase the appeal of the property and will give you more chances of selling or renting this property. An example of that is in RAR, As-Sijil Al-Aqari, and their effort of registration properties by utilizing drones as part of their arsenal when doing geospatial scanning and gathering surveys for the real estates. They were able to announce that they have registered over 1 million real estate in phase 1 registration. So I know it's a lot. So to conclude, few key takeaways. First, PropTech is going to transform the way we manage our properties, whether if it is IoT, AI, VR and AR, or drones. However, we need to look at these technologies as a part of an ecosystem, as a spectrum that covers the entire operation of property management. So where should you start? Assess your current capabilities, devise and create a digitalization plan, Then make sure that you partner with a highly integratable system that will give you the ability to integrate with multiple PropTechs in the future. The idea is to reach full automation when it comes to property management, which will free property managers and give them the time to move to becoming more of a community managers, not just a property managers. The future of property management is in high tech and low touch. So start today, contact us at PropertyNet, manage your information, control your properties. Thank you so much. If you have any more questions, just reach out to us at PropertyNet or reach out to me directly on my LinkedIn. Thank you so much for being a pleasant audience.